Hello, Hannah. I closed up so quickly with that part one of Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2025. I don't want to come back because the mirroring is the moment the door opened here. There's a part of me that got scared. And instead of, because this is for me, pausing, talking to myself, and just saying hello to whoever it is, I quickly stopped it. It's like, oh my God, I'm getting caught. That's the old feeling of getting caught. That's a little boy. And that little boy is still there, always wondering, am I going to get caught doing what I'm doing? Because there's a part of me that's trying to pinch myself going, is this really the way life can be? No. No, it feels like I've broken the game. And I haven't, because there's still many challenging times, and I have. Things are so much more fun than they've ever been. And it reminds me that, in a way, I think is the breaking out of the matrix. But there's all these matrices to break out of. And it's not a having to fight or a revolution all the time. It's just a slow, subtle noticing and seeing of myself. Is this what I want to choose in this moment? It started with one of the funniest things is looking at the menu at a restaurant and being able to choose what I want to have without having to justify it. Right? Like, oh, I'm choosing this because obviously these flavors I like. This is one of my favorite things. I'm getting a little sensation of a pain here. Interesting. Part of it is, thank you, Dad, for showing me, because he doesn't like choosing that for whatever reason for him. But what I got out of watching that enough times, that interaction of times, like, I don't want to be that. Especially when my beloved pointed out to me, she's like, she got frustrated with me. She's like, I don't want to choose your thing all the time. I was like, thank you for saying that. And she's like, I don't want you to choose for me all the time. It's like, thank you. It's that lovely balance. When I really want to choose, she's like, I love to receive. And she may ask me sometimes to choose. And I'll be like, all right, let's step into this role. And better, what I love about our dance, mine and hers, is that I don't need your involvement in this part. Right now, for me, the practice of me getting her involved is me being clearer and clearer of my ask. That's why I'm actually getting involved. Not that I need her to help me say yes, but when I'm clear with my ask, she's automatically a yes. And if she's a no, then I can really say, oh, what's here? And part of me, the fear is to hear the no, because not that I was used to that as a child. That's my recollection of it. I remember the no's and not the yeses. And there obviously were a lot of yeses because I did a lot of things. I traveled a lot. And that's one of the gifts of my parents, is they let me spend a lot of time outside of their presence, whether it was with other teachers. And that's the thing too, is finding Sage some great teachers outside of us. And part of it even was the skating. Great teachers for an hour. Awesome. Let's do more of that. Great teachers outside of having mom and dad on the ice. Awesome. So I might do that a couple more times if they're up for it. Just to have that balance, and then I'm going to come on the ice. We'll see. We'll see if that's just me trying not to get on in there, and see if it's actually serving. Noticing this body is being nourished enough right now, and I'm finding a better balance because I'm enjoying the juices, I'm enjoying the smoothies, and I'm enjoying the food when I'm really eating it. Just being, there's an undercurrent of fear underlying all this right now. That's my interpretation. It's just a sensation in the lower part of my belly and gut. It's a little bit of the lack of the lover. Okay? Lover right down there in the root chakra for me. Warrior right here in the solar plexus. King goes across the heart to the self-compassion, to the compassion for others. And the magician for me lies here in the jaw, and in the voice, and in the smile, and the mischief. And I'm saying all these things to myself just to remind myself, because I'd forgotten. And I'm really connected to the magician. Ooh-wee. And the king with the deep throat of voice, and the warrior just roaring. And then the lover, which is more of a moan, more of a groan, more of a sound of pleasure. And I realized there's so many different sounds of pleasure. And one of the things I did, and I do very well at times, is when I'm having good food, just really taking the time to enjoy it. And it's the best way to honor a chef. Not tell them, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like, oh my God, just wait. Spaciousness. Part of it is the word spaciousness, space. Space and spaciousness. Space and spaciousness on the website. Paradox. Paradox. Infinity. Eternity. Orion. Egypt. All these little things that I've screamed out. Dimension. Dimensions, aspects, facets, fractals. It's so fun because when I was young, I had this math teacher, I can't even remember his name, when I was at Shad Valley, and he was barefoot at Acadia, and he was teaching about fractals, and they had a very, well, nowadays rudimentary fractal just delivering itself over and over, showing that no matter how you get zooming in, you could see more and more zooming in of a repeating pattern. And now I'm recognizing as we're zooming in with a repeating pattern, we're also zooming out with a repeating pattern. And so we can learn everything in the microcosm and the macrocosm. And so everything I want to learn, I can learn right from where I'm at, and I can learn from looking at the bigger picture. And sometimes what the confusion is how the bigger picture or the littler picture is rendered, because it's rendered through our technology. And our technology isn't a perfect rendering of things. Every time we look, even MRIs, CT scans, even telescopes, microscopes, and electron microscopes, we are doing things, staining, other things like that, that actually change the structure. It's not the aliveness of it, which is why the live blood analysis is so different than a slide preparation analysis. But it's so much harder to look at a live blood analysis because everything's moving all the time. Right? Structures that are static are different than the live thing it was. And we're missing the essence of things sometimes. It's funny, I think only on Medicine Spaces can I actually capture the mental snapshot of something. Like truly, right now I'm just seeing flickering light. And just reminding myself, on the old days of storytelling, it's the same thing. There was no story that's consistent. Even these stories, I was reminded yesterday by my beloved, like, how do we know and how can we trust any more video anymore with all this AI generation? And that's a part of it. We're going to start to notice there's no such thing as objective reality in that sense anymore. And even right now, is there an objective reality? We keep coming back to reality is being created by the observer in a way. There's an observer effect. And we'd forgotten that, and we spend all this time and energy trying to recreate the truth, trying to prove something. Like, that's the way the court system is right now. I'm just going to say it the way I see it, is one of the biggest wastes of time and energy, because we've created such a thing of force and externalized the approval and validation that we haven't allowed for enough internal noticing and awareness. And it's not morals, but rather, how do we really raise and support the raising of the generations? Like, that's the most important thing, right? The raising of the generations. Like, when it comes down to it, the next generation gets to create more than we can imagine. Like, my own personal energy compared to raising 30,000 conscious beings, I don't think there's even a doubt that 30,000 conscious beings could create more in a way. Conscious beings, not 30,000 people in general. That's the difference. We are dulling the consciousness. often instead of raising it. Right now, even in the mirror work right now I'm practicing, is raising my own consciousness. And it's part of why the last few weeks I've been listening to less, reading less, and actually creating more. It's that balance of in and out, and creating not from a place of this is the framework I have to do, right? This is the marketing framework, this is the mold, and that's been the hard thing before, why I resisted creating it all. Now it's like, you have all the freedom to create, Nick. What are you gonna fucking create? You don't have an excuse then. Now I've got the tools, I've got an amazing microphone, amazing camera, amazing spaces, amazing times. I don't even need to find an audience first. And as I make these long form videos, I don't even have to really worry about the write-up and all that stuff. I'm just gonna break it up. Get a gaze of the distance for a bit from my own eyes. Noticing the treetops, noticing the skyline, noticing the clouds. It can be such a trap, this life. Notice what I just said, it can be such a trap, this life. Life itself is a trap, is what I'm actually saying with my mind. I'm trying to trick myself. There's a part of things that can feel like a trap or a prison. I am creating a prison. Every day I wake up, all possibility, creating a prison. I can walk out the door and never come back. Choices. I have default choices that I already know I'm going to make. I could call that a prison, or I could call that a foundation. It's a foundation when it's open to changing too, but it's a great solid foundation to build on. And I can keep choosing to change it every now and then, reevaluating. That's the master planning for life. Let's take a look at the plan you've already created. And let's keep going back to that and revisiting that. Okay. So I'm revisiting the master planning, revisiting these cycles again, revisiting these learnings, doing this clear vision, doing this breakthrough experience, noticing, creating content, getting support with creating the website, not worrying about all the work that could be done, because the work is going to come to me as I get clearer and clearer on myself, as I do more of the mirror work, as I actually keep speaking and noticing what's there, and as I actually spend time with the family and living life the way I want to live it. And over again, this just keeps reinforcing itself. It becomes a self-perpetuating loop. And it makes it easier and easier to know what the default is. And then every now and then I revisit and say, am I still on the same track that I want to be on? And keep nudging it in the direction I want to be in. And then saying the words like this in the mirror work and noticing what's coming out. Not because I'm trying to override myself with affirmations. Rather, I'm getting more clear. I'm a genius and apply my wisdom. Today's going to be a Wunderbar day. And I think I've expended myself. Ciao.